Well, shaking people. Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno, although this is another one that's sort of right on the border of acid-techno and acid-trance, and if you can read the title here, and if you know who Pablo Gargano is, it won't surprise you that this is a tune that sort of blends a couple of different styles and maybe sort of gets at both acid-techno and acid-trance, the latter of which he's most famous for, hard trance if you want to call it that, but a lot of his hard trance tunes are sort of dominated by the sound of the 303. And again, I think there's a lot of tunes from back in the day on Eve, which is the label that he's sort of famous for, but as well as, Time Unlimited and Noom, where like you could call them acid trance or hard trance, and I think the label is equally accurate. Nevertheless, this is a very cool thing. This is Pablo Gargano on a Stay Up Forever record. That's right, we're listening to a Stay Up Forever remix record. And we're going to listen to a remix of Cosmic Trigger, The Oracle. I just reacted to the original. Check it out if you're interested. Cosmic Trigger being Chris Liberator, Paul Harding, and Dave Lelouch, DDR. They made a few records, I think it's like 95, 96, 97. The Oracle was from 97. And then, again, this is Pablo Gargano's smooth Eve-int remix. Meaning, like Eve, the label that he... the bulk of his work is on, and that was basically set up to be an output for his hard/acid trance when he got to London. But yeah, so event, but spelled Eve-ent. And it is a very smooth mix. Again, I think you could maybe call this acid trance. It's acid techno too. But again, Pablo Gargano being on Stay Up Forever is like two of your very favorite things that are slightly different walkways coming together. It's like Subhumans on Jello Biafra's Alternative Tentacles label, which I believe with that Citizen Fish split with, what was it, Leftover Crack? I believe that has happened. But yeah, it's basically two things that are on slightly different paths merging for one awesome sort of combination. So that's what we're doing here. This is Pablo Gargano's smooth event, or Eve-ent, mix of Cosmic Trigger's The Oracle. And this is Stay Up Forever 22. Let me check the year as we get started here. But yeah, it's a Stay Up Forever remix, sorry. Stay Up Forever remix 22. Woof. Listen to that low end. Kick drum coming in like gradual, building into the track. Okay, so this remix final is 03. Which is interesting, because by 03, Pablo was sort of phasing out of his productions. He had already kind of switched to a more, like, melodic, sort of, like, progressive trance style, which, you could say whatever about, like, going to a new style, but the production qualities were still top level. Yeah, I like some of this stuff in the later period before he stopped producing. But it's interesting because this is 03, maybe a year or two before like his last record from back in the day. But it's a little bit more like his tunes from the 90s than other stuff he was doing post 2000. I mean, just the tempo alone is closer to his stuff from the mid 90s than it is the more melodic stuff from the early 2000s. Again, it's Pablo Gargano and Stay Up Forever remix, like little dissonance, little wicked character there, that like kind of like scratching glass sort of thing. And now this rhythmic kind of clattery percussion, or something to that effect. Now there's another like very like kind of clattery, like rolling percussion sort of feel. But that deep bass, but that it does give it a very smooth feel. It's very well named. Sort of acid growl riff of the original in slightly more like modulated focus form. Kind of warm, sort of pad vibes rising. Love that. And again, taking the kick out and then gradually like opening it back up into the track again. So low end, foggy, like drone sort of like the bass. Boom, boom. Shout out to an RIP Commander Tom while we're on the subject. Masterful. Again, you can use this in a mix of acid-techno or acid-trance. And now we have these kind of like background, like floating, sort of like acid ebbs and flows. Kind of meandering, like now sort of falling line. Very electric, like in the actual quality, not so loud, but like the Oracle maybe? Same thing with the kick drum again. And I love that little electric like little hi-hat flourish that some eccentric claps. Pablo Gargano never fails in terms of like, it's always rhythmic, but it's never the like predictable formulaic progression through the measures. There's always like, you know, an 8 instead of a 16, or like something comes out after an 8 and then back in another 8 later. Like, he's always playing with the structure, always rhythmic, but always like a bit of eccentricity. Different tune than the original. The original is like a, you know, keep turning up the heat, keep turning up the heat, so it starts smooth, but it gets more and more like having it. This really is just like a smooth, groovy ride through some acid territory. You can make a left into acid-techno, you can make a right into acid-trance, but you're gliding. is a really well produced tune. I mean, we are talking about arguably, like, yeah, I mentioned before, it's, you know, how do you compare someone like Geezer to Pablo Gargano? But he will always be in the conversation for my favorite producer ever. And even though this is right at the tail end of his, like, productive output, the quality is still right there, ace level. Maybe not identical in sound to the tunes he was making in 96 or 97, but like capturing that vibe while also getting to the smooth territory that his later, more melodic trance tunes were brilliant. Of House is the original sample. Yeah, like I said, big ups to one of my favorite producers ever, you know, all genres, all labels considered, Pablo Gargano. Big ups to one of my favorite labels ever, all genres considered, Stay Up Forever, and the offshoot Stay Up Forever remix. Yeah, it's just such a cool thing to me that there's at least one record where Pablo Gargano found his way onto Stay Up Forever. And, you know, there's a few records like that where someone, you know, more known for other genres or other, like, labels finds their way onto Stay Up Forever. And, you know, it works in reverse, too. There's even a Noom record, which, you know, Noom is, like, a hard trance UK label known for, like, hard trance and acid trance, you know, tunes by Cores, tunes by Mandala or Nexus 6. Yeah, just, you know, really like awesome label. But Chris Liberator and Dave the drummer, Henry Cullen, are on that label. So yeah, you know, it's always interesting when artists you're fond of from one realm find their way to a very prominent outlet for another style that you're interested in. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like that remix. Let me know how you think it compares to the original. Obviously, it's a bit different of a flavor, but I really do like them both. So anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for listening and watching. Have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Peace.